The Barnstable Town Council met last week and heard a request from the Community Preservation Committee to transfer $500,000 to a group known as the Preservation of Affordable Housing for the purchase of the Cromwell Courts in Hyannis. The money would go for the continued preservation of affordable housing in the town of Barnstable. Lindsay Council, chair of the CPC, gave the town council the rationale for the transfer. And then he introduced Patricia Belden and Thatcher Tiffany of POAH.
Thank you, President Chair Godis. Lindsay Council, chairman of the Community Preservation Committee. Give you a little background on the item before you. The Community Preservation Committee met on August 16th, 2010, and the members present unanimously recommended that the town support the funding request of $500,000 from the Preservation of Affordable Housing for the redevelopment of 124 affordable rental units on the property located at 168 Barnstable Road, Hyannis, map 328, parcel 013. The rationale for this project is as follows. The project goal is to acquire and rehabilitate 124 rental units at Cromwell Court. The estimated cost of this development is $13,255,032. The project has secured funding commitments from a number of organizations, and they will present that information to you themselves. The development will serve a currently underserved population. 66% of the units will serve families and individuals with incomes below 50% of the area median income, with the remaining units serving households up to 80% of the AMI. The property will be restricted as affordable with a regulatory agreement and declaration of restrictive covenants. This project meets the housing criteria of the Community Preservation Committee as follows. Preserves affordable housing, contributes to the goal of 10% affordability by preventing the loss of affordability and conversion of these units to market rate housing. Promotes the socio-economic environment that encourages a diversity of income and age. Provides housing that is harmonious in design and scale with the surrounding community. Cromwell Court at 2.5 stories serves as a transition between a single-family neighborhood to the north and commercial area to the south. It intermingles affordable and market-rate housing at levels that exceed state requirements for the percentage of affordable units, ensures long-term affordability by committing to a use agreement, and it also uses existing buildings. Tonight we have with us from the Preservation of Affordable Housing, Patricia Belden and Thatcher Tiffany. They have a brief PowerPoint presentation for you and a brief outline of their organization.
Good evening. I'm Patricia Belden. I'm the Development Director for Preservation of Affordable Housing. I've met some of you here in the past working in partnership with PAC on development of affordable housing here in Barnstable. Would be the purchase of Cromwell Court will be POA's by itself first acquisition here on the Cape. We're going to tell you a little bit about POA, a little bit about Cromwell Court, the actual property, and if there's any questions we can answer them. And this is Thatcher Tiffany, who is the POA's project manager for Cromwell Court.
Okay. So a little bit about POA to start with. POA was founded by Amy Anthony. It's a nonprofit which was founded to be dedicated to the preservation and rehabilitation of affordable housing. So our real thing is buying older properties like Cromwell Court, preserving their affordability and fixing them up. We've rescued and restored some of America's most at-risk rental housing. We currently have in our portfolio over 6,400 units at 49 properties. And all of these properties are managed by an affiliate, Preservation Housing Management, and we have 10 properties in Massachusetts. So a little more about the property. It was built, just sort of the basic physical situation. It was built in the 70s. There are 12 buildings in all, 124 units, mainly 2 bedrooms. A lot of families in those 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms. And there's 82 Section 8 units, which we call low-income units, and 42 low and moderate income units. So, like, one of the main reasons we get involved in this stuff is that we can reinvest in the buildings. So we spend a ton of time thinking about how to prioritize the resources to put money into the buildings. And what always comes up first is safety and code compliance. So there'll be a lot of that in this rehabilitation. There are critical capital needs issues, often around the envelope. In this case, the roofs are really old, and almost all of them will need to be replaced. We're also doing a bunch of accessibility upgrades. There are no accessible units, no wheelchair accessible units on the property, so we'll be creating 2 new units as part of our investment. And then energy and environment is always critical, and we're always looking for opportunities to seal the building up so it's more energy efficient, make the apartments more healthy living environments for the residents. So we'll be doing things on that, and I can talk about those in more detail if you want. Okay, so financing. This is what we call a 4% low-income housing tax credit acquisition. So we start, and I'm just going to sort of go down our key sources to give you a sense of how we put together the financing and where the CPC fits in and where the town of Barnstable fits in. So mass housing tax exempt bonds is where we start. By getting these bonds from mass housing, this is a tax exempt form of debt that qualifies the property for 4% tax credits.
Councilor Jim Tinsley asked about the construction company that would do the rehab of the units, and he was followed by a question from Councilor Deborah Dagwan.
You mentioned Callahan Construction, and 15 people came, so it'll be local Cape Cod individuals working on this project, construction project, working on the buildings, our constituents getting jobs.
Well, we're required to do a competitive process for the bidding, so and we don't have a specific regional requirement from any of our other funders, but it does end up being a lot of local people.
Okay.
I guess that's the best I can answer.
The only other question I have is about the current tenants. Is there a new application process, or is it just they stay there and as they move out, you have new ones come in? Do they reapply? Is there any type of process for that?
There's a recertification process,
Okay.
which is critical to the tax credits, but it's also important for us so that we get to know our residents and see their needs and see how we can support them. But the idea is that everyone will stay.
I'm often asked during these times about job opportunities, and I know my counselor to my left here asked a question about the general contractor, Callahan, and opportunities for local people, again, maybe some of the subcontracting positions. And I was just wondering, and maybe something you can't answer, but when and how do they go about notifying or letting people know about the kinds of opportunities that are out there? So that local contractors can at least apply for some of the positions.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think I know the answer to it, but maybe I could find out, and I could communicate through the president or the CPC on some sort of notification from Callahan.
And which Callahan is it? Callahan Construction?
Callahan Construction.
There's no first from where?
If I might, when you have information, if you could communicate to the council office, right, with Mr. Grissom.
Okay.
We'll give you that information so you'll have that directly.
The motion was carried unanimously. Thanks for joining us on Barnstable Today. I'm Len Gobeil.